Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, you know that. I know it. We talk about it. We hang out and we move and groove and do all that other fine stuff. So anyways, so how are you? I hope everything was fantastic over the last 23 hours as we have not been together during that time, at least with most of you. Because if I was hanging out with most of you, I think I would have came to that realization. So there you go. Anyways, today's Tuesday, August the 16th of 2022, day 228th of the year, and only 137 remaining before we get to the end of this 2022 thing. No, seriously, because it seems like if you take a listen or take a look around for sure, it seems like it's been some time. It seems like it has been the time of our life in regards of getting some of this stuff done and seeing how long it's going to be before we actually get to the end of it. So now it seems like we're at the end of it and, well, or close to the end of it because we're really not at the end if you start giving it a thoughtsy there. So with that being said, we are broadcasting live from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM. And then we are also hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place that we do stuff at. Radio Big. Yep, hanging out with our friends at Radio Big because, you know, that's what we do around here. We hang out and do stuff with them. So a lot of changes occurring over there at Radio Big, but I guess we'll talk a little bit more about that in a titty-bitty because it's going to be important to talk about in regards to some of the change-oramas that are going on over there. And you might be a little bit more excited and to hear what the hell is going on there, so we can talk about that as well because I think that will be important. Anyways, with that being said, I think it is time automatically to start talking about what was trending because that might be important. Anyway, the CEO of Pfizer was trending on Monday after Albert Bourla, the CEO of Pfizer, tweeted that he has COVID. By the way, he is quadruple vaccinated. So just so you know, some information there. Also, in honor of National Relaxation Day, Twitter users shared their tricks for keeping calm, turning off their minds and relaxing. Several noted the irony that the day fell on a Monday. So did you do anything for Relaxation Day? I mean, I guess if I'm looking back now, I didn't realize it was Relaxation Day. I mean, I guess I should have because we talked about it at the end of the show yesterday. But I did some things to relax. It was, yeah, I guess it was fun. I don't know, relaxing. Something like that. Yeah, maybe one of those things. Anyways, happy first day of school was trending as many teachers and students returned to school yesterday. And Capri Sun was trending yesterday after thousands of juice pouches were recalled due to the possible containing cleaning solution. The flavor being recalled was wild cherry. Boy, does that change everything in one tidbit or another if you really start thinking about that, because think about it. All of a sudden you think you're going to have some wild cherry and you have some cleaning solution instead. I guess that would really put a change to your day if you really give it some thought process in regards on how exactly that would work. I mean, think about it. Yeah, I'm here. I want to give my kids some wild cherry, and the Capri Sun ends up changing everything for you. Anyways, with that being said, let's talk a little bit more and give the explainer here because I think it's always important. We talk about safety in the radio and safety in the news, and news and safety is kind of the way that it goes about. Talk a little bit about everything. You have a way of interacting with the show by going to callinradio.com. callinradio.com. It has several different ways to be able to interact with us. The probably the most instantaneous way that you'll get across is by doing messaging. Outside of that, we kind of do it in regards of how we get them in. That's kind of the way that it goes about. Then we talk a little bit more about the things that are going on inside of the world. We give you a nice little big bow on everything that is happening and then move on from there. So with that being said, I think we should probably start getting moving and grooving on what the hell is going on inside of the world of the news. So let's get that moving for you right now.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in Erbil, northern Iraq, I'm Ollie Barrett. Iran has submitted its written response to a proposed EU text for a revived international nuclear deal. Negotiators are attempting to reach an agreement after President Trump pulled the US out of the previous version. A Chinese ship has docked at a port in Sri Lanka, raising security concerns in India, which opposed the move. China describes the ship as a research vessel. India is worried because it has satellite and missile tracking capabilities. Rebecca Bunden reports from Mumbai.
China's Yuan Wang 5 ship has docked at Sri Lanka's Hambantota port despite India's objections. The port, which was developed with Chinese investment, is of strategic importance given its location in the Indian Ocean. China is one of Sri Lanka's largest creditors. India has been working to increase its influence in Sri Lanka, which is grappling with an economic and political crisis. China had said that it was completely unjustified for countries to raise security concerns to pressure Sri Lanka. Rebecca Bunden, Mumbai.
South Korea is offering the North funding in exchange for denuclearization, marking the country's 77th anniversary of liberation from Japanese occupation. The South Korean president offered Pyongyang major aid programs. Dave Yin reports.
An audacious initiative. That's how Yoon Suk-yeol described what he is offering North Korea in exchange for denuclearization. The South Korean president outlined plans to help the North fast-track its economy, crippled by years of sanctions. Wide-ranging aid programs include food, power generation, infrastructure, trade modernizations, agricultural productivity, healthcare, and finance. The price is for Pyongyang to halt its nuclear program and take major steps towards denuclearization. With this, observers say, the Yoon administration is trying to bring the North back to the negotiating table, something the latter has shunned in favor of ramping up tensions with missile tests. The move has drawn support from the U.S., with the State Department saying that it would work closely with Seoul to restart dialogue with the North.
Japan's economy is showing signs of recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic, according to the latest GDP data. Growth is being driven by a rise in consumer spending following the lifting of pandemic curbs in March. Thisanka Sarapala reports from Tokyo.
Japan's economy grew at 2.2% between April to June, exceeding levels from before the COVID-19 pandemic. This is a third consecutive quarter of growth and a marked improvement on the 0.1% growth recorded in the first 3 months of the year. The rebound is being fueled by a jump in private consumption, which accounts for more than half of Japan's GDP, as dining out, leisure and travel are all rebounding. The government says it won't reimpose COVID-19 restrictions despite facing record-breaking new daily infections and strained medical facilities.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, looking in more depth today at the news that Britain has become the first country to approve a dual vaccine for COVID-19. The new serum tackles both the original strain of the virus, but also the Omicron variant that has become dominant in many countries. The vaccine, produced by Moderna, is expected to be available by the autumn, but by then there could be additional variants circulating, according to Dr. Beta Campman, the director of the Vaccine Centre at the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine.
The problem is, we still don't have quite the tools to well predict what the virus is going to do next. And so these adapted vaccines were made with Omicron variant BA.1 in mind. Now, BA.1 is no longer the news of the day. It's now BA mainly 0.5, which comprises nearly 80% of the strains that we see or the variants we see in the UK. So we're already, as you say, playing a bit of catch up. Now, how much they will in the end prevent transmission and infection is another story. And many people have seen with Omicron, although they were vaccinated, that they still get infected.
Pfizer is also on the verge of producing a so-called bivalent vaccine that can also target Omicron, and companies are expected to continue iterating new versions of the jab to combat new variants as and when they emerge. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
To recap the top stories, Iran submitted its written response to a proposed EU text for a revived nuclear deal. A Chinese ship docked at a port in Sri Lanka, raising concerns in India. South Korea is offering the North funding in exchange for denuclearization, and Japan's economy is showing signs of recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic, according to GDP data. That's the latest feature story news. From Erbil in northern Iraq, I'm Ollie Barrett.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Attention business owners. Are you receiving all the employee tax credits you have coming to you? A tax refund program provided for by the CARES Act of 2020 could be worth thousands. Employee retention tax credits, or ERTCs, are a fully refundable payroll tax. You may be eligible for up to $26,000 per employee per quarter. At Lifetime Advisors, we have a team of experts dedicated to the ERTC program. We work with businesses of all sizes, both big and small, to claim the money that they're entitled to. It's your money, and we can help you get it. Call Lifetime Advisors today at 1-877-851-0005. We'll send you a short questionnaire to see if you qualify. There is no obligation, but this is a limited time program. Don't miss out. Call 1-877-851-0005. That's 1-877-851-0005 to get the ERTC money you have coming to you. Lifetime Advisors.
The Work Wise Summit is an interactive two-day gathering that will bring like-hearted leaders together like never before as we discuss ways to better align HR, safety, and operations around one common goal: creating the future of work together. Day one will focus on self-performance with talks with leading experts on how to live and lead at our best. Day two will focus on organizational performance with discussions on what we can do together to break down silos and foster action. The Work Summit will take place at Coker Tire Museum in Chattanooga, Tennessee on Thursday, September the 22nd and Friday, September the 23rd. For more information, go to worksbees.com/Y Summits. That's WORKZBE.com Y Summit. It's a new year, but it's feeling harder than ever to find and hire qualified people you need, especially for small businesses. That's where LinkedIn Job comes in. They make it easier to find people you want to talk to faster and for free. You can create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 770 million people. Focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience and use screening questions to get your role in front of the most qualified people. Then use the simple tools on LinkedIn Jobs to quickly filter and prioritize who'd you like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs number one in delivering qualified hires versus leading competitors. I have to tell you that we have used LinkedIn Jobs to even find some of the people that we have here at Safety FM. LinkedIn Jobs can help you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know that every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your jobs for free on linkedin.com/safetyfm. That's linkedin.com/safetyfm to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. And don't forget to tell them that you heard it right here on Safety FM.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, yes. If you believe in magic, that is the way that we hang and bang around here on Tuesdays. Anyways, let's get right into it and start talking a little bit more about what is going on inside of this lovely world of ours. So here you go, taking it from the very top of the shit list, because that is the easiest way to do so. Let's talk about it. The World Health Organization wants to rename monkeypox after concerns that current name could be considered derogatory or have a racist connotation to it. The health agency said the decision was made in line with the current best of practices of names of diseases, which aims to avoid causing offensive ways to the cultural, social, and national, regional, professional, and ethnic groups, and minimize any negative impact on trade, travel, tourism, and animal welfare. Other names likely to be changed include Japanese encephalitis, Spanish influenza, and Middle Eastern respiratory syndrome. So let's talk about this. What exactly do you find offensive by some of these names or derogatory? I mean, I'm just kind of trying to figure it out. I mean, let's talk about specifically about the monkeypox side, because that's going to be the curious one. So who said they were offended about the monkeypox name? Like, was there like a whole convo of, hey, I don't want any monkeys to be offended by what I'm saying, so maybe we should in turn call it something else because monkeys could have their feelings hurt about this? I'm asking a serious question here, because we get into the world of the strange from time to time. And I'm not picking about the world of the strange. I'm just talking we get strange. So what do you think about it? So let's go a little bit more. So cancel culture, when the words are, that make a person sad, they get canceled or redefined. How long before all names are removed or everything is referred to by the set of non-racist, non-sexist, non-ageist, non-obvious, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, number of things. Because here's the thing. I mean, if we want to talk about some interesting stuff, and if you are on the visual side of this, I guess I could reference this. I can reference it for the radio people too, which the radio people are cool, you know. Nothing against the visual radio people, but I mean the radio people are the originators. So this right here that I'm holding in my hand is referred to as a mouse. Now, here's the fun part. Depending on how you look at mice, you can look at this as a number of different ways as I'm referring to this. Now, this mouse is an Arc mouse brought to you by Microsoft. Now, this is not product placement, but the thing here is now I have limited your thought process into how I am talking about this. And that's the problem with names, is that if you name an object, you all of a sudden now have these limitations on what this thing should be called. And hey, I guess that's part of the gig, but it makes it interesting on how all of a sudden now that's all it's determined. So at what point is a mouse going to be offensive for that? And then I can show you another mouse, and then you'd be like, well, hold on. You told me that it was an arc mouse. Well, now you are seeing something entirely different, and that's kind of the way that it works. So how is this going to change things? I'm not 100% sure. But what all are we going to cancel? So then speaking out of pox, an Italian greyhound owned by a non-monogamous gay couple has been infected with the disease in the first reported case of it spreading from humans to pets. So how is this going to work? I mean, I don't know. The monkeypox thing is getting pretty interesting, and I'm sure there will be more convos about it as things go on. So maybe that's some stuff to talk about as we are looking, moving, and grooving there. So I don't know. What do you think about this? Because there's going to be tons of questions that are going to come about in regards of monkeypox, especially because we get to interact with the gen public. So what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to be the thing here on how things are going to move and groove? Because I never understand on how some of these diseases are transferred. Unless there's some very specific information about it, but I think you kind of already know this. So I don't know. What do you think about the whole thing? So I don't know. So a lot of stuff going on. Whoa, how'd that happen? So that's not supposed to happen. But anyways, that's some stuff to think about. Just some information as we are talking. Anyways, let's get into some other news stories because there's a lot of important stuff that is going on. A group of high school football players from Georgia are being praised for saving a woman's life. Take a listen to this. Caesar Parker, Trevin Adams, Antoine Carey, Messiah Daniels, Tyson Brown, and Alto Moore jumped into action after witnessing a serious collision near their school. According to an eyewitness, the group of teens saw a woman struggling to get out of a banged up vehicle, so they jumped into action to pry open her door. After lots of tugging, they were able to get the 50-year-old woman and pull her out of a smoking vehicle. Hundreds of people in the boys' community took to social media to praise them for their selfless, heroic act. So, I mean, congratulations for the boys for helping the lady out in regards of who was stuck in the car, because that's going to be an important thing. Now, the other side of the equation here is this. Are we making it sound like the 50-year-old lady is like an old person? Because I'm starting to have some questions then. And maybe because I'm closer to that number than I'm closer to being a teen. But, man, let's talk about, feeling old relatively quick first thing in the morning, as we're talking about this. Anyways, in other news, a 7-year-old red panda named Raffy spent 2 days on the run after escaping from an Australian zoo. The furry creature was captured on Sunday after he was spotted hanging out in a fig tree in a nearby park. Zookeepers tried to entice Ravi out of the tree with his favorite snacks, including bamboo, sweet corn, but refused to budge. In the end, they used a tranquilizer dart to get him down. That does not sound like a gentle thing that you did in regards of getting him down. Afraid of commitment? Well, Ravi was sent to the Adele Zoo last week from the neighboring zoo with hopes that he would pair up with a female red panda named Mishi. Well, shit, maybe that's part of the thing of what they're scared of, naming a thing Mishi. So there you go. Anyways, currently 25 minutes past the top of the hour. This is the Rated R Safety Show. Let's talk a little bit more about some other things. The U.S. set a record in July for overnight warmth. Yeah, listen to this. And the average temperature for the lower half of the country was 63.6 degrees Fahrenheit, a record for any month in 128 years of record keeping, according to NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. The nighttime low was more than 3 degrees warmer than the 20th century average. NOAA also reported that as a whole, July was the sixth hottest month of record with the average temperature of 61.97 degrees, which is about 1.57 degrees warmer than the 20th century average. So there you go. Some stuff to think about. Anyways, a man in California has broken the world record for the most hot ghost pepper eaten in 1 minute. Gregory Foster was originally recognized by the Guinness World Record for eating 17 ghost peppers in 60 seconds. He broke the record on November the 14th of 2021 in San Diego. That's hot. Ghost peppers can register 1 million or more Scoville heat units, SHU. A jalapeno typical registers about between 2,500 and 8,000 SHUs. So think about that real quick. Think about how hot you might think that a jalapeno is at time to time. And all of a sudden you stuck a ghost pepper in your mouth and you're saying that it's closer to somewhere to 1 million. You might have some issues there.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
Just something to think about for sure as we are talking. Anyways, I think it's close enough to that time for us to bring in some John Smalls and let him tell us about what's going on inside of the Market Beat.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Tuesday, August 16th, 2022. Equity markets began the week in the green and moved up in Monday trading. The S&P 500 gained about 0.5% at the high of the day and will probably move higher in the near term. The move is driven by the weaker than expected CPI data last week, but investors are warned not to put too much faith in the rally. The rally is still a bear market rally and one that will result in another sell-off in the not too distant future. The question that needs to be answered is if the next sell-off will result in a clear buy signal that is confirmed by economic data and the outlook for earnings, or if the market will move down to another new low. The big news this week will be the retail sales figures Wednesday. The economists are expecting a gain of only 0.1% versus the prior month, which was tepid at best and optimistic at worst. A weak figure may not send the market into a tailspin, but it will help set up the next decline. A series of weak economic reports could put an end to the market's optimism, and there are other reports due out this week. You can get the inside track at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you, Johnny Smalls, for letting us know what is going on there. Let me give you a little bit more of a breakdown, even though he has great information in there. The Dow closed about 149 points on the upside on Monday to close at 33,910. The S&P added about 16 points to close at 4,297. The NASDAQ added about 75 points to close at 13,122. If you're a mathematician, you can figure some of those numbers out as we are talking. West Texas Intermediate was trading at $90 on Monday. Brent crude was trading at about $95 a barrel, give or take there. The national average price of a gallon of gas was about $3.96 on Monday. And let's see, Bitcoin fell on Monday, losing $255, trading just over $24,000. There was 2,602 flights delayed into, within, or out of the United States on Monday, with 216 cancellations. 2,602 flights delayed. Holy smolies, as we are talking. Anyways, let's talk about what's going on inside of the world of the music charts, because it is Tuesday, and if we were exclusively on the radio and doing nothing else besides that, not doing a podcast, not doing, live radio or visual radio or however the hell you want to take a look at it, we could play some of these songs for you, but because we are limited by the constraints of what we are using in a bit of technology, I can't do that currently, but I can definitely tell you about them. So taking it from the number 5 spot, according to iTunes, this is what it was at number 5. At number 5 was One Republic with I Ain't Worried. At number 4 was Morgan Wallen with You Proof. At number 3 was Kate Bush, Running Up the Hill, A Deal with God. At number 2 was Cole Swindle, which She Had Me at Heads, Carolina. Yeah, there you go. At number 1 was Nicki Minaj with Super Freaky Girl. So there you go. If we go to the Spotify side of the house, it goes something along these lines. The number 5 spot was Running Up the Hill, A Deal with God by Kate Bush. Number 4 was Post Malone and Doja Cat with I Like You, a happier song. At number 3 was One Republic with I Ain't Worried. At number 2 was Harry Styles with As It Was. And the number 1 spot, according to Spotify, on what was going on inside of the music charts, well, it was Lizzo with About Damn Time. So there you go. So is it about damn time that Lizzo was number one? I mean, I don't know. Just some stuff to think about as we are talking here. So I think it's close enough for us to start talking about some of the things that we need to do right around this time. So I guess it's close enough as us to talk about our main story.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so all kinds of stuff going on inside of the world as we always are talking, jabbing, moving, and grooving, and all of that stuff that we do talk about. Anyways, I'm looking down real quick because apparently I have a message bomb that just came through in regards to a whole bunch of messaging at one time. So I apologize about that. But wow, so there you go. Yeah, I'm seeing all kinds of messages coming in. Apparently there are people that are saying inside of the social media forums that I don't look at that there's stuff that supposedly the number's not working or the call-in radio's not working. I think you're wrong, but there you go. I mean, if it says anything in regards of waiting, that's what happens. You have to wait. So there you go. Anyway, so let's talk real quick about some other stuff that is going on inside of this world. Anyways, it is currently 32 minutes past the top of the hour. So let's talk about what we have to focus on today as our main story. I think that we get confused sometimes on our expectations on what we have inside of our work organization opposed to what we are currently looking at, opposed to what is actually going on inside of the real world. Because listen, we say that we do not want people to be robots. We do not want people to do this. We don't want people. We want them to have their own versionality of things that they are. And listen, I know that we've talked about this before, that if we want things to work well and be machine likes, maybe we should use machines opposed to saying, hey, well, this person has failed in life because they didn't do X, Y, and Z. Well, that's not the case, but it's something that it is brought up from time to time. And sometimes it seems like we have these work environments that have these false expectancies that people are not going to do what the rules say, that people are not going to do what the process says, and all that kind of fun stuff. So here's the gig. With that being said, why is it that the terms that we use sometimes for people in our organizations are not human-like? They become more along the lines of we still want them to be some level of computer or machine. I mean, at this point, it seems like it would be fitting to just say, hey, maybe they're more just along the lines of vast, active, living, intelligent systems. Think about it. Think about how things are set up currently in most organizations. I mean, really give it some thought. The way that it is set up is most people have a person in a group that sits inside of the corporate office and that has never seen or interacted with how the actual organizations do stuff. And the way that they do it is that they turn around and go, this person is going to be the person that is going to tell the rest of the company on how to do the work. And they're not, the person that does this has never done the work themselves. And all of a sudden, if the people that are out in the field that are doing the work fall outside of that guideline, fall outside on how something is written, all of a sudden now there's a problem. So why is it that we have this expectancy that they are going to work, the field worker, exactly how it is written on a form, or is it something that was written by somebody who never understood the work? So we want them to be a vast, active, learning, intelligence system to an extent. We can call it VALIS for short. But think about it. Think about it for a moment on when people start deviating from how the system is set up, on how the people that are in the uppers seem to get pissed. How the people that are in the uppers seem not to like it. And I will tell you to this day, and I will probably continue to say this for as long as you and I hang out, That drive to zero is bullshit. It is straight bullshit. Yes, zero is a great goal. And believe me, I get it. But you have a total system collapse now the moment that something occurs. And why do I say that? Because think about it. All of a sudden, you have now have a huge failure rate set up. Because the moment that one thing goes wrong, now your whole system has failed. Because now is it, hold on, we are driving to zero moment by moment, second by second, every time that we do something. So does that clock reset every single time that we're doing something? I mean, listen, philosophy-wise, it sounds great. But reality-wise, it is impossible. And yeah, you're going to hear me harp this week about safety and how safety is not the absence of accidents. It is the presence of safeguards. And when we start putting people in positions in upper management that are writing processes of something they do not understand, this becomes extremely difficult. And then we get to hear dumb shit such as drive to zero. And I'm going to tell you something else real quick before I forget. As we talk about drive to zero, and then you're going to hear some people this week that will be going around, because I've already got some complaints about yesterday, so I'm going to talk about it real quick right now, about me not talking about, you know, that you're a safety show, and you didn't talk about Safe and Sound Week. I'm going to tell you something. I am not going to waste, yes, bow it right there, waste my time about talking about Safe and Sound Week. Because to me, once again, safety is not a priority on one particular week. And listen, if you are a safety professional and that is the only way that you are able to get your messaging out inside of your organization because they want it to be a main focus on a week, good for you. I am glad that they are giving you a platform to do that. Fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to take a look at this, that is not something that I am only going to focus on for a week. Because it is too important. It is too important to be like, yes, Safe and Sound Week. No. Sorry. That's like the other thing that people get pissed off about. That, well, you talk about mental health, but you didn't say anything about Mental Health Month because it should be more than a month that we talk about it. Same thing. Same concept. Same thing to talk about. So listen. If we want our people to be able to interact and do the things inside of our systems the way that need to be done, we need to have their input. We need to look at them as more as team members, more than just employees. They need to be more. They need to be able to help, build, describe, and do the things that need to be done inside of your program. They shouldn't just be the vast, active, living intelligence system. They shouldn't just be Valis, if one may say so. And I may steal a quote from Philip K. Dick and his fans, the Dickheads. Yes, you did hear me say that because that's what they call them. Anyways, that's what I got for you. 39 minutes past the top of the hour.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Hey, Dad. Your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad. Your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey. Why don't you take a minute?
When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can, making sure they're safe and comfortable. But it's just as important that you take some time for yourself. At AARP, we can help with information and useful tips on how you can maintain a healthy life balance, care for your own physical and mental well-being, and manage the challenges of caring for a loved one. Because the better care you take of yourself, the better care you can provide for your loved one.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you.
You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, class. Let's hear what everyone did this weekend. Jill?
Well, I raised my older sister to a big oak tree. It was at least 100 years old. My mom said I must have set a record or something. And then we went down by a stream and perched up on this huge rock and saw all these little minnows swimming around way below us. And then I rescued my little brother from an evil slug king who was guarding him at the bush fortress. And my sister and I brought him back to our super twig fort for safety. And then we all laid out and told stories until it got dark. And the Big Dipper led us all the way home. Wow. Awesome. Where were you, Jill? Yeah. We went to the forest. It's not that far away. Anyone want to come this weekend?
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week and find the fun, adventurous you. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Join us in October for The Sands, a week of music and fun that's been described as the best week ever by many of our guests. This year, we have more icons and more fun. Culture Club, The Cult, Loverboy, Belinda Carlisle, Lou Graham, Vanilla Ice, Samantha Fox, Firehouse, and many more. Plan to join us October 25th through the 30th at Planet Hollywood Beach Resort in Cancun, Mexico. This all-inclusive event will be the time of your life. Learn more now at radiotravelgroup.com.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with home title lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
There you go. 45 minutes past the top of the hour. You and I are still hanging out here on RadioBig.fm and on Safety FM. And that could be Safety.fm if you needed to, or RadioBig.fm, however you'd want to take a look at it. Yeah, thanks to my good old friend, Sheldon Primus. That's how the Safety.fm came into my life. Anyways, this song right here, this is I Wouldn't Let You Fall. This is Tello Beat featuring Matt Sierra. This song's regularly available for download or streaming on Spotify and iTunes. And thanks for Tello for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. Often duplicated, never replicated, that's for sure. Okay, so let's get the hell out of here in regards to this. Thanks again for allowing us for playing that one. I like it. I like some of these, calmer songs from time to time. As long as you won't let you fall. And talking about not letting people fall, let's talk about this because this is going to be extremely crucial to our conversation. And let me tell you about my friends at 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. It is the national network of local crisis centers that provide free and confidential support to people in suicidal crisis or emotional distress 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in the United States. They're committed to improving crisis services and advancing suicide prevention by empowering individuals, advancing professional best practices, and building awareness. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to 988lifeline.org. That's 988lifeline.org or call 988. Or you can text the word TALK to 988, and that will get everything moving forward in regards of what's going on. Listen, this is something that we need to talk about, not sometimes, but all of the time. This is a conversation that does not just need a month to talk about. This is a conversation that should be ongoing. And hey, listen, some people get pissed off about what we talk about sometimes. But sometimes a dose of truth needs to be put in there. Love it or hate it, tell me that I'm wrong. It's okay. It does not hurt my feelings. But the important part here is that we need to have these conversations about the things that are going on. And if you are struggling mentally right now, 988 is there for you. And the great thing about it is if you just want to go to the website and do it, you can go to 988lifeline.org and use the chat feature. That is right there. So there you go. Anyways, let's get into some other stuff because I think it's always important for us to talk, move, and groove and do all that kind of fun stuff as we are talking on this lovely Tuesday. That is for sure. So let's talk about this. Is your brain working hard, then hardly working? Scientists say that they finally discovered why thinking too hard makes you tired. In a study published in the Journal of Current Biology, researchers use magnetic resonance spectroscopy to monitor brain metabolites over the course of 6 hours, roughly, of a workday. For two groups of people, they were given mentally taxing tasks to complete, and another given easier versions. As expected, the first group started showing classic signs of fatigue, pupil dilation, loss of self-regulation, saying things that I'm totally exhausted, etc. But MRS shows that another symptoms too. Higher levels of amino acids in the parental cortex. Having these acids in your brain is normal, but also toxics in the nerve cells. And the researchers think that it may be the causes of tiring effect thinking too hard. The theory is that cognitive work results in an accumulation of noxious substances. So fatigue signals to us is to that it says that we should stop working in order to rest and regenerate the brain, rather than carrying on and making careless mistakes that lapses our judgment. Well, I guess this explains so much on why I'm never tired, or that I have a hard time sleeping, because I guess I'm not using my brain. Well, I'm happy to say that my new fave excuses for getting my work done is that I was poisoning my brain. Maybe that somebody can use that as a work excuse. I had to leave that job because it was poisoning my brain. And I thought that it was all in my head, which is technically is where it's supposed to be. Maybe that's something else to think about. Anyways, with that being said, it is currently 50 minutes past the top of the hour. So with that, let's bring in Johnny one more time and let him tell you about the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Jason. Michael Jordan said, "The key to success is failure." Now, I know there are many people who already know this, but I was amazed to find out that Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Imagine that. But think about this. Maybe that is what it took for him to buckle down and focus on being the best he could be. I wonder how much it would have changed his life in the long run if he had not been cut from that team when he was so young. We'll never know, of course, but one could speculate that this little negative thing that happened to him when he was young helped lead him to the success that he had later in life. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by AlassaMorgan.com. When training your brain to adapt new habits, what matters is not just which habits you opt to focus on adding into your routine, but also when you do them. Phase 1 of the day is from 0 to 9 hours after waking, and that period of the day, assuming that you get some sunlight exposure, is going to be associated with higher epinephrine, high dopamine, and slightly higher cortisol. This is a good time for linear habits, things that you know how to do, you just need to do them, like working out. Phase 2, from 10 to 16 hours after waking, we tend to be a little calmer. And this is a good time for non-linear brain operation, things like creative writing, brainstorming, and analytic work, where there is no clear right answer, but more exploratory. Those activities tend to work better in the second phase of the day. For more information on the wellness, check out AlassaMorgan.com.
Hello, I'm Richard Exley with your 1 Minute Devotion. I have hurt and been hurt by those I love, and you probably have too. As a result, I am often tempted to avoid close relationships. I don't want to get hurt again, and I sure don't want to hurt those I love. So what can we do? We can pray for wisdom and grace. Father God, you made us for fellowship and have given us the power both to help and harm others. Grant us the wisdom to know what is their good and the ready will to help them attain it. Heal those we have wounded. Strengthen those whom we have failed. Grant us all your healing grace and make our fellowship to be your family. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. If these devotions are a blessing and an encouragement to you, you can subscribe at oneminutedevotion.com.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, there you go. 53 minutes past the top of the hour. You know, that's when you get the data dump. That's when you get the data download of everything that's going on all at one time. So there you go. Hopefully you like that one. Anyways, let's talk about Did You Know? Domino's Italian experience has fallen like, 7 years after its debut to the country. The American pizza giant was formally shuts its doors after failing to win over locals who prefer homegrown options. Pizza Spa, the franchise operated of the Domino's brand in Italy, filed for bankruptcy in April, and the company closed its doors by July 20th. Up next, the company selling ice cream to Eskimos, carrying coals to Newcastle, and bringing sand to the beach. So there you go. I mean, I don't know. Why would you want to open a Domino's inside of Italy? I mean, I think it's a hard place to pull that number off. But hey, I guess that's the kind of the way that it goes. Anyways, let's talk about some whack facts real quick because, we got some time to do that. To your fish tapping on the aquarium glass is loud as a rocket, as loud as a rocket going off. So there you go. The first ever movie with outtakes in the credits was Smokey and the Bandit back in 1977. You can learn the High Valine language of Game of Thrones through an online course. There you go. Continue to waste your money. The chance of you dying on the way to get lottery tickets is actually greater than your chance of winning one or winning the lottery. There are 92 cases of nuclear bombs lost at sea. And the word gorilla is a derivative from the Greek word meaning a tribe of hairy women. So there you go. Yo, I what comes to mind could probably get me in a lot of trouble if I start talking about it. Anyways, talking about the lottery real quick. No winner for Friday night's Mega Million drawing. Tonight's drawing will be for $82 million jackpot or $47.1 million cash payout. So if you're ready to play the game, you're more than likely and more than welcome to do so because now is the time. Anyways, what else do we have going on? Let's take a look at things that happened back on this day. So let's talk about it. Elvis Presley kicks the bucket in the Graceland mansion. The king was on the toilet when he suffered a heart attack. In the later years, his unhealthy diet and drug habit was notorious contribution to his early death. He was only 42 years of age at the time of his passing. You know, I haven't watched the movie yet, but I keep on wondering, do they show that at the end? Do they show him dying on the toilet? I mean, I'm just curious. I haven't watched it, but I'm just asking the question. Anyways, let's talk about some birthdays that are going on today. Taking a look around, Young Thug turns 31, Carrie Price 35, Vanessa Carlton 42. Jace Robertson turns 53 today. Steve Carell turns 60. Let's see, Angela Bassett 64, Madonna 64, and James Cameron turned 68. Did they get all those Avatar movies filmed out yet? Because, you know, if he's 68, we might need to have some conversations here. I just want to make sure that all the movies are done, if you know what I'm saying. Anyways, also, if you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate today, I have some of those for you. It's National Tell a Joke Day, National Roller Coaster Day, National Airborne Day, and National Rum Day. So it's all stuff that you can go do, hang out, and have all kinds of fun if you want to do that. I guess if it's National Roller Coaster Day, I guess I could go out and do that today if I really wanted to. I don't know if I want to. Well, man, something to think about. So here you go. If you need a random joke for today, I have one for you. When I was a kid, my mom told me that when I have my own home, I can keep it messy as I want, and I'll be reminding her that when I pick her up from the airport today. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What's something that's impossible to look cool while doing? If you need something for the water cooler, try this. Question. Studies show that parents tell their kids no almost 24 times a day. What is the number one thing that they tell them no to? Staying up late. Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that was it, so there you go. Anyways, you've been listening to the Rated R Safety Show exclusively on Radio Big and SafetyFM.com. So thank you for taking a listen, hanging out, and letting us do what we do around here. Thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener, because without you, we could not do what we do for sure. Truly, we could not do the things that we do around here without you. There is no ands, ifs, and buts about it. I don't when it comes to that stuff, it's super important. I can't tell you otherwise. Thank you for always being here with us and hanging out. Anyways, with that being said, if I can leave you with a deep thought today, here's what I got. Without hard work, nothing grows but weeds. And not the weed you're probably trying to look for. Think about that. Anyways, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye. By the way, over the next couple hours, I'll be going to radiobig.fm if you want to come and hang out and do the things that we do over there. If not, you can keep it locked right here on Safety FM and hang out and do what we do here as well.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.